some interesting moves. A lot of players, as always, could have some very interesting years. 2024, for example, saw players like Lamine Yamal break onto the scene, Kobe Mainoo's break onto the scene, Cole Palmer turning into, one of the best players in the world. We saw players like Carl Walker, Kevin De Bruyne, Bernardo decline. It's, for many reasons, lots of things happen throughout a calendar year, so what I'm going to do for you today is I've got 30 players here you need to watch out for. Now, you need to watch them for various reasons. Some of them may be because they, this year in 2025, could be getting a transfer, a very big transfer, to a different club. Or this could be the year where they explode. Maybe they're a youngster, maybe they haven't really established themselves, maybe this is the year they become a global superstar. Or it could be the reverse, and it could be a make or break year for them in 2025, where if they fail in 2025, their career might be fully over, but it could be a chance for them to rebuild themselves. So yeah, I'll go through all 30 here. Let me know, anyone in the comments below, who you think we should look out for in the year 2025. Also, shout out to The Athletic. I'll put a link in the description. I've got a couple players from there, but a lot of the others are my own as well. So let's begin in no particular order with player number 1, Joshua Kimmich. Joshua Kimmich's situation is strange. He is one of the most decorated players in Europe, having won the Champions League and 8 Bundesliga titles with Bayern Munich. He is also the captain of the German national team. But his future is uncertain, not least because of doubts over his best position. He is currently occupying his preferred spot of a defensive midfielder under Vincent Kompany, but there remains a suspicion it does not suit him, and he is better at right back. Couple that with him turning 30 in February this year, and you have the prospect of him pursuing a new challenge, perhaps on his own terms. Concrete interest is hard to find, as is a straight answer from Kimmich about his future. But whatever your opinion might be on Kimmich, there is little doubt he is a quality player and one of Bayern Munich's best. This year, though, will be a big one for Kimmich, as he will have to make a decision on his future. Either extend his Bayern deal, which will expire this summer, or move on. Let's see what his decision is, but it's a big year for Joshua Kimmich, who could be on the move in 2025. Number 2, Jorrel Hato. In the summer, Ajax needed to make sales, and quickly. Without the income of European football, the club aimed for 10 departures to make room for incoming players. Everyone was on the table, except Jorrel Hato, the best talent to emerge from Ajax academy since Jurgen Timber. At the age of 18, the centre-back was already too important for Ajax to let go. Only a monster offer could have led Ajax to reconsider, but Hato made it clear that he did not want to leave. Arsenal have been long-term admirers, but their signing of Ricardo Calafori meant any pursuit is unlikely now. However, with Europe's elite clubs always after a young, ball-playing centre-back, other sides soon will be circling. Jorrel Hato is best as a left-sided centre-back, but has also been used as a left-back. The type of versatility that suits the emerging trend across clubs to field centre-backs out wide. At the age of 18, it's extremely likely Hato will have a similar year to Lenny Yoro in 2024, who, funny enough, actually featured in last year's video I made this exact video last year for players to watch in 2024, and Jorrel was in there. I said he could get a big move as he's a young left-footed centre-back. He did end up making that move to Man United, so Jorrel Hato, I believe, will follow the same footpaths. As to which club though, I'm not sure at this stage, but he is one of the most promising young centre-backs out there, so I expect him to get a big move in 2025. Number 3, Xavi Simons. All options are available to PSG on Xavi Simons. No decision has been made regarding his future, and much can change before this summer. Simons was loaned out to RB Leipzig this season, as head coach Luis Enrique would not assure anyone of a starting place. But a coach's view can change, and so can a player's. In the Champions League particularly, PSG need extra quality, so he could be that person. Simons is young and fits the new philosophy of PSG. Come the end of this season though, he'll only have 2 years left on his contract. There is no indication on him looking to sign a new deal, which means this is the point which PSG can maximise their return for him. Thereafter, his value will only reduce, and that means a permanent exit from PSG is very plausible in 2025 for Xavi Simons. There is huge interest from many clubs, particularly in Germany, with Leipzig wanting to turn the loan into a full-time switch. Bayern Munich are also long-term admirers, as are Borussia Dortmund. While Premier League clubs Arsenal, Man United, Liverpool have definitely shown some interest in the past, but it all depends on the player and also Luis Enrique. If the coach wants to keep him and adapts approach slightly, or if Simon returns and decides to stay at PSG, then he could stay. PSG views Simons as a golden opportunity either way. They either retain a top talent or sell him for a huge profit. Unless something goes badly wrong, his anticipated transfer fee is probably around 80 million euros minimum. Number 4, Nwaneri. Becoming the Premier League's youngest ever player has not always guaranteed success at the highest level, but the current record holder Nwaneri certainly has the credentials to become more than just a quiz question answer. The first player to ever appear in the Premier League before their 16th birthday, Nwaneri has all the attributes required to become a regular at the Emirates. Now aged 17, he has begun to appear more and more in Mikel Arteta's squads, with the Gunners having done well to fend off interest from both Chelsea and Manchester City in the past. That being said, this is a big year for him. As he turns 18, he will want to see a clear pathway to the first team and get some more minutes at Arsenal. If he cannot see that pathway, then he may look for a loan, or even a potential transfer away, as have some other Arsenal Academy graduates in recent years, the likes of Amari Hutchinson and Judo Obi Martin, Amari, Kozia Dubry. Many have left Arsenal due to not seeing a path to the first team, and even Nwaneri could potentially follow suit. However, there is also every chance he does explode this year, as he certainly has the talent to do so and is very close to the first team. And he could potentially become the next Bukayo Saka for Arsenal. It'll be a big year for Nwaneri and his development. Even though he is very young, this is definitely a huge year for him to try and break into the first team at Arsenal, or try and get some regular minutes elsewhere. Number 5, Levi Colwill. Chelsea have grown accustomed to clubs showing a strong interest in Levi Colwill, and they should be prepared to test for their resolve to be tested again in 2025. they ignored a strong inquiry from Bayern Munich last summer, and Liverpool have also been long-term admirers. Chelsea are under no pressure to sell, having secured the England international on a long-term contract. They also have no desire to sell Colwill, as he is a key player for them. Yet, his weekly salary of around £100,000 a week no longer reflects his growing standing for his club and country, especially as he is seen as a potential future captain. The club have also shown that they are willing to sell homegrown players because a fee can be counted as pure profits. It's going to be interesting to watch how this one develops over the course of 2025, as Levi Colwill has slowly been getting better this season, but let's see if he can really make a step up this year and try and become a potential world-class centre-back, which many at Chelsea believe he can be. If he cannot show that progress though, Chelsea may see it as an opportunity to cash in on a player they don't see reaching his potential. But we'll have to wait and see what happens with Colwill this year. Number 6, Alphonso Davies. Alphonso Davies' contract with Bayern ends in the summer of 2025, which makes him one of the most watched players on the transfer market. Real Madrid and the players' representatives reportedly reached an agreement whereby a deal could be completed as a free agent with a large signing on bonus. However, Bayern are still not ruling out Davies staying beyond this year, and they are trying to have a meeting with him to get a new contract signed. There are also a couple Premier League clubs interested in Davies. Real Madrid have been in contact since September, but despite reports, there is definitely no agreement in place yet. Davies is currently available to sign a pre-contract with a foreign club, but let's see what happens with him. Similar to Kimmich, it's either renew at Bayern or leave Bayern this year, most likely for Real Madrid. But one of the best left-backs in the world this year is going to be available on the market for a free. Let's see if he... Number 7, Jobe Bellingham. Talk about pressure. For the uninitiated, Jobe Bellingham is the younger brother of Real Madrid player Jude. But there are those who believe the 18-year-old will eventually reach a similar level to that of his brother. Like Jude, Jobe made his Birmingham debut at the age of 16, but departed to join Sunderland in the summer of 2023. Jobe has proved he's a talented player since moving to the Stadium of Light, and this season has slowly started to explode. Premier League clubs have already shown an interest in Jobe, but some of Europe's biggest clubs could come calling in 2025. Sunderland are in the hunt for promotion back to the Prem, with Jobe a big part of that. This year, he could potentially lead Sunderland back to the Prem, or if not, make a move to a top European league and start to get the same recognition as his older brother. I do expect though, this year in 2025, Jobe Bellingham to be playing top flight football and potentially start to make a name for himself on the global stage. Number 8, Kevin De Bruyne. Kevin De Bruyne's contract at Manchester City expires this summer, and there are 3 main options as things stand. Renew with Man City for a year, move to Saudi, or join the MLS. If he stays, it would likely be a 12-month extension. This has always been a possibility and is not impacted by his recent performances. The door remains open at City, and it has been loosely discussed out of mutual respect that there is a deal if he wants it. If he switches to Saudi, it would almost certainly be a PIF-backed club. The clubs and the Saudi Pro League itself have all made clear that they want him, have also been some conversations with the US sides, predominantly through the MLS centrally, and that is another concrete opportunity. Most teams would jump at the chance to sign De Bruyne, shifting designated players to make space for him if required. 2025 could be the year one of the best Premier League midfielders of all time finally departs the league and goes into an early retirement, or it's going to be where he goes for one last dance with Manchester City, which would be very interesting to see, as he has not necessarily had the best season so far, but who knows, maybe he knows that it's going to be his last year, he wants to be part of a rebuild and go out with a bang. But let's see what happens with Kevin De Bruyne, who could potentially be leaving the Premier League after all these years in 2025. Number 9. Ademola Lookman. Ademola Lookman has become a bit of a star in 2024, reviving his career at Atalanta, leading them to Europa League trophy and winning African Footballer of the Year. He was close to leaving last summer for PSG, but stayed, and is now leading Atalanta in a title charge. Lookman, however, is likely to leave Atalanta in 2025, when he will have just 2 years left on his contract. The 27-year-old forward is not expected to renew, making it more plausible he will leave if bids arrive. 2025 could be the year Lookman gets his move to a top European club, or it could also be the year he becomes the king of Bergamo by leading Atalanta to a sensational first ever Serie A title. It does look likely Lookman will leave though, and it'll be interesting where he goes, and if he does go to a big club, if he can step up and perform at the highest level. Number 10. Christopher Nkunku. Nkunku joined Chelsea as the big name attacker and superstar in the side at the time. However, when he arrived, unfortunately he was hit with a bunch of injuries, and sadly for him, during his spell on the sidelines, Cole Palmer stole his spot as the main man for Chelsea. That being said, Nkunku is still a fantastic player, as he has shown with his time at Leipzig and in moments when given the game time and opportunities at Chelsea. Unfortunately, he is a backup option for the Blues now, with Nicholas Jackson cementing his spot up front. Nkunku has been used as a rotational option. For a player in his prime, it's understandable why he may be unhappy. It is expected in 2025 he may push through a move, maybe even in January, with clubs such as Man United interested. Nkunku is too good to be sitting on the bench, and while Chelsea will be reluctant to sell, it does seem Nkunku will be on the move this year, either in January or in the summer, if his game time does not improve. Number 11. Kendry Baez and Estevao Willian. Now, I've grouped these two players together here because you need to watch out for them for literally the exact same reasons, so it made sense to put them together. It's no secret Chelsea have gone mad in recent years when it comes to signing youngsters, but there's two youngsters who Chelsea fans should genuinely be excited about, in Kendry Baez and Estevao Willian. Both were signed for significant fees, with Chelsea fighting off interest from some of the biggest clubs in the world to sign them. They were both signed at the age of 16, but will join the club finally in July this year. Kendry Baez has already made waves internationally, becoming the youngest ever goalscorer in CONMEBOL World Cup qualifiers, and the second youngest ever player to score at a Copa America, with Baez already a key player of the Ecuador national team. Estevao has been nicknamed Messinho, which kind of tells you all you need to know about how much they rate his talent over in Brazil. It will be interesting if they are chucked straight into the first team for Chelsea, or they are loaned out. But given how much has been invested in these two players, and the I suspect they will be given a chance to prove themselves in the Chelsea first team in 2025, and let's see how they do. If they bang, Chelsea could genuinely have two world-class talents on their hands. Or are we going to see two absolute busts and really struggle adapting to life in Europe? Let's see what happens in 2025 with two very Number 12, Enzo Millot. When he joined Stuttgart in 2021, barely anyone noticed. They were a struggling side who had only just returned to the Bundesliga and then recently pivoted to a transfer strategy that prioritised young developing players. Not that Millot was a blue chip prospect. He had barely seen the light of day at Monaco and hardly seemed a coup. Yet his rise since has been remarkable. Injury wrecked in his first season, but at the end of his second he scored the decisive goal in a relegation playoff against Hamburg to keep Stuttgart up. Since then, perhaps nobody has benefited more from the influence of coach Sebastian Hoeneß. Millot was quickly woven into a side that played fast football and established himself as a goal-scoring midfielder to be feared. He helped Stuttgart rise from 16th to 2nd within a year, qualifying for the Champions League. The question hanging over Millot was whether he was good enough to translate this form into the Champions League, which he has successfully done, meaning his £17 million release clause seems like a bargain. Now that clause is not active until the summer of 2025 though, and at age 22, Enzo Millot could be one of the biggest bargains out there in this year. It does seem inevitable he will move on to a bigger club, so watch out where he goes in 2025, because this could well be one of the cheapest deals and biggest snips available this year. 13. Marcus Rashford. 2025 is perhaps the most important year of Marcus Rashford's career. We all know the problems Rashford has faced and his story at Man United, so I won't bore you with it all. But now, in 2025, it is the definition of make or break for Rashford. He finds himself in a similar situation to Jadon Sancho, who, funny enough, also featured in this video a year ago. I said Sancho at that point was frozen out of the United squad and ready to leave. Due to his high wages and poor form though, nobody was going to be willing to buy him, so a loan was likely. I said it was going to be a make or break year for him because if that didn't work out, then he probably wouldn't get a big move and pretty much his career at the top level would be almost done, at least for the near future. However, he went on loan to Dortmund, did pretty well, and moved to Chelsea in the summer, where he has seemingly got his career back on track. Rashford is in the exact same situation. He's almost guaranteed to move in January this year, probably on a loan, maybe a transfer, but wherever he goes, Rashford must make it work. If Rashford fails again this year at a new club, his hopes of becoming the world-class player he once was will disappear, and his career at the elite European clubs will be pretty much over. Although, like Sancho, he's very talented, he can also move and completely revitalise himself. Rashford could generally become one of Europe's deadliest attackers once again this year in 2025 if he does move to a club and it works out perfectly. Let's see how Rashford does, but it is genuinely make or break for Rashford in 2025. Number 14. Claudio Echeverri. Many young Argentines have whittled under the pressure of being dubbed the next Lionel Messi, but Claudio Echeverri certainly seems to have both the talent and character to carry the burden. Europe's biggest clubs went out of their way to secure a signature over the past year, only for Manchester City to win out in the end, finding off major competition from Barcelona, as well as Real Madrid and PSG, and he is is on this list for the same reasons as the Chelsea boys we mentioned earlier. Echeverri signed last year actually for Manchester City, but will be joining them this year in July 2025. In perhaps maybe the best possible moments, City will surely undergo a major rebuild this summer after their disastrous season, and Echeverri, the fresh younger blood, could be the face of this City 2.0. Let's see if Claudio Echeverri is really as special as he's been made out, and if City will chuck him straight into the deep ends. Will he turn out like another Julian Alvarez, or is he going to struggle to adapt to life in Europe? Let's see in 2025. Number 15, Nico Williams. 2024 was some year for Nico Williams, as he won a Copa del Rey with his boyhood club, and then went and lifted the Euros with Spain. The only way he could have topped it was by getting his dream move to Barcelona. He waited for them, but unfortunately they didn't have the money, so he remained at Athletic Bilbao. Now, it appears with Rafinha and Yamal doing well, they are probably not going to go in for him anymore, and a chance at going to a Premier League club is more likely. There is a release clause of only around 46 million, and Bilbao will only sell if that gets activated. Williams will probably move in 2025, but the question is whether it will be in January or at the end of the season. Either way, the likes of Arsenal, Bayern Munich, Chelsea, Liverpool and others will definitely be interested in Nico Williams, who, as we saw at the Euros, is a sensational talent who could potentially be available this year on the cheap. Number 16, Antonee Robinson. Few positions are harder to dependably fill than left back. Consistent defenders are always in high demand, especially left backs. Now, Antonee Robinson is in the spotlight after some top level performances, but he has long shown signs that he could reach a high level. The 27-year-old has come a long way since joining Fulham in 2020 and is now one of their most trusted members of the squad and irreplaceable for the United States. If his proven track record in the Premier League wasn't enticing enough, his years at Everton's academy means he counts as a homegrown player. 5 years after he nearly moved to AC Milan, steady play for club and country alike could finally see Robinson get a shot at the European giants. He is considered one of the best left-backs in the Premier League right now, and a move to a bigger club could definitely be on the cards this year in 2025, should Robinson want a challenge at the top level. So let's see if he gets his move finally to a big club, and how he does at such a big club. Number 17, Kenan Yildiz. Few teenagers can claim to receive regular phone calls from Alessandro Del Piero after their matches, but Kenan Yildiz is no ordinary teenager. Having broken in to the Juventus first team at the start of 2024, the forward has already done enough to suggest that he will become one of the pillars at Juventus over the next decade. Yildiz probably had his breakout year in 2024, as he has now become a regular for the Juventus team, along with having a solid Euros for Turkey in the summer. But 2025 could be the year Yildiz really explodes. He's now had a year to settle into life as a professional footballer at a top club, and this could be the year he really takes Europe by storm. Yildiz certainly has the talent to do so, and could put himself in conversations with the likes of Yamal as one of the future faces of football this year, if he manages to explode, which certainly could be on the cards for a player with so much talent and is seen as one of the gems of Italian football for the next Number 18, Trent Alexander-Arnold. Alexander-Arnold's situation is among the most high profile this year, owing to his quality and contract. It is unusual for someone so young, so good, and heavily associated with a team to be so close to the end of their terms. The England international has shown loyalty to Liverpool, and they are working hard to keep him, but so far there has been no breakthrough in talks. That has fueled interest from elsewhere, and Real Madrid's admiration is well documented. Big decisions need to be made by all sides as the clock is ticking. With Trent Alexander-Arnold's contract expiring this summer, he is now able to sign a pre-contract agreement with Real Madrid. Liverpool, of course, do not want to lose such a key figure, but they will need to do what it takes to keep him. At the same time, Real Madrid will definitely try to entice him to leave. It's an ongoing situation that must be decided in 2025. As things stand, we still lack a clear picture on the outcome, but it does seem only two things will happen in 2025. Like Alphonso Davies, in 2025 Trent Alexander-Arnold will either renew and stay at Liverpool, or he will join Real Madrid. It's a big decision for Trent Alexander-Arnold to make, which could shape the future of both his career and also Real Madrid and Liverpool's future. So let's see what he does in 2025. Number 19, Mathys Tel. Mathys Tel continues to make match-winning contributions at Bayern, despite having to wait patiently for a run in the starting lineup. Tel, at 16, broke Eduardo Camavinga's record in becoming Rennes' youngest ever player, and he joined Bayern for 17 million, despite only making 7 appearances in the summer of 2022. Unfortunately, Tel has been limited to almost exclusively substitute appearances, but he has taken almost every opportunity afforded to him when he's been on the pitch, with one of the best goals per 90 ratio at the Bayern squad. With Tel always going to be behind Harry Kane in the Bayern team, he's been limited to bench appearances for a couple years now, and 2025 could be the year aged 19. Tel starts to demand first team football. There is rumours that he is going to be leaving this January or in the summer, potentially on a loan or even leaving Bayern on a permanent deal, but it does feel 2025 will be the year Tel makes a move or demands a breakthrough into the first team of Bayern, as he is far too talented to be sitting on the bench for another year. And if he does leave, let's see how he does, because he could truly showcase his talents and prove why he is one of the best young players out there. Number 20, Reece James. The story of Reece James is a sad and frustrating one. A player with so much talent and has shown on the biggest stage he can thrive, but unfortunately in the last 2 to 3 years has been plagued with injuries. Many people have accepted James will just be one of those players who never gets over their injuries, and they're probably right. The question is though, do Chelsea believe that? James has a lot of years left on his contract and is the club captain. The club believe in his ability and have always been patient, but if he cannot get fit for the rest of the season, they may see this as an opportunity to sell him this year. That being said, James has this year to prove he can stay fit and get over those injuries. If he can, then Chelsea may have a brilliant player on their hands again. But let's see what happens with James this year, and if it will be another year of pain, which may potentially force Chelsea's hand into cashing in on a player who simply will just never be fit. Number 21, Florian Wirtz. Florian Wirtz is one of the jewels of German football and was central to Bayer Leverkusen's unbeaten domestic double last last season, winning Bundesliga Player of the Year. Alongside Jamal Musiala, he has become the great hope of the German national team and will be fundamental to their challenge at the 2026 World Cup. His contract runs until 2027, so there is no obligation to sell him, but there will come a point when Wirtz may look to move elsewhere, particularly if Xabi Alonso moves on. Wirtz belongs at the top of the game, but his path depends on which club is willing to meet Leverkusen's huge £125 million asking price. Many at the club believe Wirtz will stay beyond this season, but let's see what happens in 2025 with Wirtz, who could make one of the biggest moves of the year in 2025. With the likes of Manchester City doubted, and as I mentioned earlier, City will be looking to do a rebuild, and Kevin De Bruyne could be a domino effect. I mentioned he could potentially move, and that may open the door for Florian Wirtz to make a major move this year. Number 22, Amad Diallo. 2025 will be a big year for Man United as a club in general, as they look to rebuild yet again, this time under Ruben Amorim, who entered his first full year in charge at the club. He's got a lot, and I mean a lot, of work to do at United, with probably most of the team going to change for the next 12 months. However, one player who appears to be staying and should be a key part of Amorim's United is Amad Diallo, who has been fantastic since the new manager has come in. Amad never got a proper chance to prove himself under Ten Hag, but should be set in 2025 for a regular starting spot at United, where he could explode this year into one of the most important players for United and one of the best attackers in the league. Let's see how he does. Number 23, Phil Foden. 2024 was perhaps the best and worst year of Foden's career. For the first 6 months he was incredible, leading his boyhood club to a 4th consecutive Premier League title as the Premier League's Player of the Season. It finally felt like this City team was his team. He was the main guy, no longer a talented player not trusted by Pep. However, the last 6 months of the year was horrible. Foden got to the Euros final with England, but didn't really contribute anything to the team, and has now gone through his worst spell at City and the start of this season. 2025 is therefore a very interesting one for Foden. Can he rediscover his form and return to the world-class player we saw at the start of 2024? Or is Foden going for a really bad spell, and will it continue into 2025? Let's see how he responds and if he can turn around this season. And look, I'm not saying he's going to get sold or anything, but if he cannot turn it around, I've mentioned City might be doing a rebuild with many new players coming in. It's very clear that Pep doesn't always play Foden. It's a very real possibility that come the end of 2025, Phil Foden will find himself on the bench at Manchester City if he does not improve. So let's see if he can sort himself out in the year 2025. Number 24, Victor Gyökeres. Victor Gyökeres will almost certainly be one of the most high-profile transfers in 2025, probably in the summer. You never know what offers may land in January, but the expectation is he will depart at the end of this season. His £83 million release clause is well documented, but Sporting are likely to do business for around €70 million. Strong interest is building from a host of teams such as Man United and Arsenal. He is one of the most sought-after strikers in Europe. In a time where many are looking for a clinical striker, Gyökeres is almost certainly going to make a move in 2025 to a top European club. But let's see where and see how he does. Is he just a stat padder in the Portuguese league, or can he make that step up into a top 5 European league? We'll find out in 2025. Number 25, Jonathan David. Jonathan David stands to be one of the most sought after free agents in the year 2025. He has an offer from Lille to renew his contract before it expires in June, but he has not communicated his final decision and is expected to move on. David has been at Lille for a very long time now, but this year has blossomed into a fantastic striker, leading the league in scoring charts and also scoring plenty in the Champions League, proving he can score at the highest level too. Many big clubs such as Chelsea, Juventus and Bayern have shown interest in the past in David, and it does seem he will finally leave Lille this summer. Let's see where he goes and if he can make that jump up to one of Europe's biggest clubs, but he will definitely be a very, very sought after bargain on a free transfer this summer. Number 26, Paul Pogba. Paul Pogba has played 8 games in the last 2 years, with injuries ruining his return to Juventus. He was then hit with a doping ban, which was for 4 years and spelled the end of his footballing career. However, upon appeal it was reduced. Age 31, Pogba has not played since September 2023 and is currently a free agent, with Juventus agreeing to part ways with him. Pogba is currently training in Miami, working on both his football and fitness. He would like to join a club in the January transfer window, but it's not clear if that will actually happen. He can start training with a club from January after the successful appeal, but he cannot actually play until March. There are some interested clubs, but a decision will be made soon over whether he joins the club now or waits until the summer of 2025. Either way, 2025 will see the return of one of football's most talented midfielders. Now let's see if he joins a Saudi or like an MLS club and goes into an early retirement, or maybe Pogba tries to test himself in the top 5 league and rediscover himself for one last dance. Number 27, Marc Guehi. Newcastle pushed hard to sign Marc Guehi in the last transfer window but could not reach an agreement with Palace. However, Guehi now has 18 months left on his contract, and there is no indication he intends to sign a new deal. If any credible approaches come in January, they will be considered, although his summer move is very realistic now. By then, Guehi's contract will just have 12 months left on his deal, and Palace will not be able to command anywhere near the fee they were being offered. Newcastle will of course remain keen at the right price, and he is also on the radars of some top Premier League clubs. As the end of the season approaches and Guehi's valuation shifts, leading sides in Europe are likely to come in for a centre-back who has lots of admirers, and Marc Guehi may potentially in 2025 make that move, which has been touted for a couple years now. Number 28, Mo Salah. Like the man we mentioned earlier, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Mo Salah is a very interesting situation in 2025. Salah's future remains uncertain, with his contract expiring in the summer. His preference is of course to stay at Anfield, but he wants a deal that recognises his status as one of the best players in the world. He has been linked with a move to the Saudi League. Liverpool turned down a bid for him in 2023, but he does intend to keep playing at the highest level in Europe. His deal is worth in excess of 350k, and Liverpool want to keep him, but insist the finances have to make sense. Salah is still one of the best players in the world, and technically, like Alexander-Arnold, can now negotiate a pre-contract agreement with foreign clubs. This one is a little less straightforward as Trent though, but Salah will either do things in 2025, extend at Liverpool, or leave. But if he leaves, it's very, very interesting and up in the air where he would actually go. Saudi, as I mentioned, would be interested, but it does seem he wouldn't really be interested in that at this stage. So maybe it's a move to another big club across Europe. Who knows? But it's a big year for Liverpool and Salah, who could potentially be departing Liverpool this year. We'll have to wait and see. Number 29, Victor Osimhen. Victor Osimhen had a pretty disastrous summer last year. He was one of the players expected to make a big move, with £100 million moves to the likes of PSG and Chelsea linked. Yet in the end he ended up loaned out to Galatasaray in the Turkish league. It was some fall from grace, but then is no doubt Osimhen is still a superb striker and far too good to be playing in the Turkish league right now. Osimhen does have a break clause in his deal, which means he can end the loan in January and return to Napoli, who will gladly sell him. That means he can return to a European top 5 league and try and get his career back on track. He's remained fit this season, which was one of the concerns clubs had over him, and I'm sure now would be willing to take a significant wage cut to leave Napoli. Some top clubs, I'm sure, would still take him on a loan, such as a PSG, maybe a United, Juventus and others. But if he stays at Galatasaray, he will then return to Napoli in the summer, where again he will surely move. Either way, it's going to be a big year for Osimhen, who will be moving to another club this year in 2025. Let's see what club it is, and let's see if Osimhen can get himself back on track and become one of the best strikers in the world once again. And number 30, we have Alexander Isak. Now, Alexander Isak is one of the best strikers out there on his day. The problem is, and always has been, injuries. However, Isak has seemed to overcome that this season, and he will have the rest of this year to prove his fitness and earn a major move in 2025. Isak has been in some sensational form at the back end of 2024, and if he can keep that up into 2025, come the summer, all the big clubs will be turning to Isak if they need a new striker. Now, Newcastle won't let him go on a cheap though, with prices around 100 million euros rumoured. For a club to pay that price, Isak will have to have a fantastic season. But don't be surprised if, come the end of 2025, Alexander Isak is playing for a big European club. So there we go. Those are 30 players you need to watch in the year 2025. Let me know your thoughts down below on those 30 players. If you have enjoyed this video, please do leave a like